Hi, welcome to Trap Souls. I am Ryan. I'm here with Mark. You can say hi.
Hi.
And Sami.
Hi.
My niece. So we went to Madison last week. So last week.
It was a week or
It was
two.
2 weeks ago.
Time flies.
Yeah, last week was New Year's, so it was the
Yeah.
week before.
So 2 weeks ago. So we talked about it. I wanted to go back in the winter because we went there last February and it was cold and we had a lot of activity. So I wanted to go back and see if that's what the reason was, the cold. Because the 2 times in between, not much happened, a little bit here and there. I think as we'll talk about our experiences there in the beginning. So I went there with my daughter earlier than anybody else. And not much going on. We did the attic, the back rooms, Sarah's room, then everybody started showing up. Listened to all the EVPs, nothing really happened. Again, those back rooms in the attic, a little freaky. Got some feelings on that. I did, and I'm pretty upset about it.
Is that the REM pod?
I don't know what the hell that is.
No.
No.
Spooky.
Okay. Alright, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I did go over to, when we were doing the doctor's office, we were there, just had some questions, and I was standing in the doorway. I'll show you guys the video sometime, not right now. But I was like, everybody says don't stare in the doorway because it's bad. You know, you get pulled in and you get pulled out. Obviously, I stood in the doorway because that's me. And as I was filming toward the doctor's chair, this black shadow came across behind the chair. Saw it on my camera. This is the 3rd time this has happened. Evidence, none. So, kind of shadow people out there, show yourself.
You couldn't get it on the camera.
No, nothing on the camera. It's the 3rd time it's happened. I've seen it on the video screen, and when I go over it, there's nothing there. So,
I wonder if others have the same issue.
if you have the same issue, drop us a message. Hopefully you don't, because it pisses me off. Besides that, we went to Sarah's room. Everybody knows, starting to know how I feel about Sarah's room. It's fake. It's there, but nothing ever happens in Sarah's room. You know, some nice stuff happens, like a little tap on a chair, some EMF detection, but besides that, there's really nothing in Sarah's room. Then everybody got there, so we'll let Sami go in a little bit. So Sami joined us because she's never done a paranormal investigation before, and she wanted to, so that's why we do Madison, get new people there. Reach brother came, Daniel, same thing, never done one before. And I asked Sami, throughout the night, why do you want to do this? There's always a reason, right?
Right.
Had experience when I was a kid, saw it goes, whatever. Sami, nothing. She's like, I had no experience.
Mm-hmm.
Did that change?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get to your story a little bit.
Oh, something happened to you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did you bring something with you?
And my phone.
I don't think it's my phone. Sarah's here. Well, quit messing with our phone and go hit the REM pod up there and let us know that you're here. It's on. Get into my train of thought. They don't want us to talk about this.
They don't. So Sami had an experience
Yeah.
So
that she's going to discuss later.
yeah, we'll lead up to it.
Yeah.
So you and Daniel went out.
Yeah. So me and Daniel, my brother, it was his first investigation he came into with us. Didn't tell him anything about the building. He kind of discussed it in our last podcast that we had. Wanted to take him to the attic, took him up there. I've had some experiences up there the last time we went in October where we heard noise in the back left side in the far room. Heard noises, scratching, everything. We went in there 3 times, and at the last time he stated, man, I don't know what it is, but this room just seems so calm. And I was really kind of creeped out by that because my experience was not calming in there at all. And I think Rit and Bird would attest to that last time we were there. But then when activities happened later in the night, it kind of made sense for him. We'll go into that later. But a couple orbs we saw up in the attic, in the doctor's room, and then the room on the side of it. And I discussed it in the videos, and I don't know if the videos that we have are going to go up that we recorded, but I even told Daniel, you know, an orb went towards you, but a lot of times we think that that's bugs or dust, so we don't usually go for orb activity. Yeah. But I just put it out there in case we did use it so that it was identified in the video. But yeah, we didn't have much activity until about midnight.
Yeah,
and then
midnight.
We could go into that experience whenever we want to, but Sami was there for that. Daniel, we had some activity at midnight, and then it kind of ramped up from there.
Yeah, because you, Sami and Daniel, what? Just you three, right?
Yeah, so they went first. They left and went in the Civil War building to try to figure things out together. And then when they came back, we went to the seminary side.
Okay. Yeah, I was doing my solo.
You were doing your solo, then you met with us at Sarah's room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting night because we had another group there, Savage Energy. They kind of did their own thing with Aaron and Craig, and we kind of just stayed together. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's 10 of us there, so we tried to split up. They had activity, and we weren't. So when they had activity, we went there to see if we can, you know, duplicate what they had. Nothing. You know, it was pretty mellow. Where we were, Civil War is supposed to be active now. It never has been for me, ever. 8 times. Never got anything in Civil War building. And still nothing after 8 times.
Sami, you went in there with Savage Energy. Did you feel anything when you were with them?
Mm-mm.
No?
Yeah, it was pretty much the same as it was the whole time.
Okay.
So, Sami, like, prior to going to Madison, you know, I always say the best tool you have is yourself. You get that feeling. Have you ever had that feeling before, like something's there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I get it like a lot.
Okay. So I was just wondering because some people are like, I feel nothing. Like,
Do you feel something now, Ryan?
angry.
Angry.
Well, I don't know what that is.
Is your battery low?
It's plugged in. There's 9 batteries in this.
There's nothing that would be attached that has batteries that would be low?
No.
Sami's a portal.
Wow.
She feels things.
All right, so, like, when did you first think you, like, always feel stuff, like, you don't always feel stuff around you, but where's one place that, besides Madison, that you don't like going?
It was when my grandma still lived in Kirtland, her house in Kirtland. There were many parts of that house I couldn't stand going alone in. Because I felt like the feeling of being watched.
Okay. I mean, it could be anything. You know, we always talk about EMF, high EMF, you know.
Was that before she passed or when she was
She's
still alive? Still?
alive.
Oh, okay.
It's
Interesting.
just the house.
Okay.
Does she still live there?
No, she moved to Madison.
Okay.
Did she move because it was haunted?
No,
Oh.
she moved for other reasons.
We actually did a podcast, the last one me and you did, where we talked about home hauntings and poltergeists and stuff. So that's kind of why I asked you on that. I wanted to see if it was maybe a family haunting like we spoke of before.
I mean, it could have been. But who knows? We'll never know.
Do you feel the same feeling in her new house?
No.
Okay, because I know sometimes it travels with people.
That
would suck.
There's people out there on Facebook that, you know, I put up, you know, what was your most, I don't know how I worded it, haunting experience this year, 2024, and a lot of responses, like a couple hundred responses, and one person said that for the last, you know, 4 or 5 years, they've been moving, and it just keeps ramping up every place they move. I'm like, well, I doubt it's the house.
Yeah,
it's something with you.
It's got to be attached to them, or maybe something that they're traveling with their home with, like a piece of furniture or something. Maybe they got it at an auction, or
Sell everything and just move.
Yeah, nomads, just done. Start over.
Yeah, go live in a tent in the woods and see this. All right, so besides that, I don't know where I'm going with this shit. So
Sammy's experiences outside of Madison. So
Yeah, she already said that.
yeah,
We're done with that.
that's over. That was that quick.
That was that quick.
Thanks, Sammy. That's been our podcast today.
I mean, Madison was slow for me.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get the Sammys, and that kind of ramped everything up, and pretty much after that, everybody left. Then
Yeah.
It was just me, you, and Daniel going at it. So
I'll jump in then to put some filler in here.
do it.
So when me, Daniel, and Sammy went together, we were actually going to the third floor. We wanted to go up to Sarah's room and do another investigation up there because we'd done 3 investigations there so far that night, and we didn't receive anything. The other group, Savage Energy, said that there was a lot of activity up there. They had some different experiences that I'll let them speak on in their own podcast. I won't put anything out there that's, their group related. But we went to the third floor, but we actually went to the second floor instead. And we just went into one of the offices to do a little investigation in there before going to Sarah's room. And it was the old police station portion. And I took my dad mentioned that he was arrested there and tied to one of the radiators. So I took a picture with my brother next to that, making jokes about things. We set up in a big room, put the REM pod up in the double doorway, and then we put a cat ball in the single doorway. And I was trying to get a camcorder to work, and I just recorded for about a half an hour with this camcorder before. And as I turned it on, I couldn't get it to record, and the picture flipped upside down. So I was trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. It looked really stupid, and I was trying to mess with it. And I was like, well, we should be getting some activity because it's about to hit midnight. And right when I said midnight, I know that's cliche, and I said it on the last podcast, but the REM pod started going off, and then the cat ball started going off. Did it not?
It did.
Okay, so it started going crazy on both ends, and I'm sitting there trying to get the camcorder, so then I'm trying to flip the camcorder upside down so I could try to get anything I can, and I gave up on the camcorder, but we had activity when we were asking it questions for probably, 10 minutes, probably.
Yeah, I'd say.
And then we were concerned because a lot of time, as you guys know that do these, if you move the cat ball to another location, maybe it's not getting as much, wiggle or whatever the case may be, so you can kind of disprove it. And we moved the cat ball a little bit, and I think it hit a couple times, but not as serious as it was before. But you pointed out in the audio that the REM pod, when it was going off, it was only doing the red light and the noise. It wasn't doing the yellow and the green. So I don't know what that means.
I think it's the closer you get to it.
Okay.
And I think the blue's a temperature change.
Okay. So there was something with the lights and the colors that were different, but then by the end of the activity, and we kind of started just bullshitting between the three of us about other things, and then the REM pod and the cat ball stopped going off, and we just talked for another 5-10 minutes about nothing at all related to them. We were making jokes that we didn't care about them anymore, so they didn't care about us, so they went away. And that's when we went to Sarah's room, and we started prepping the room up. And right when we started prepping the room up, Ryan came in. So I don't know if you want to lead into what we were doing over there.
I'll touch what you were, because we started up in the offices a little bit, and I had the REM pod and cat ball outside the office door,
Okay.
close to where you guys were, and the REM pod was going off, and the cat ball went off, and we tried to debunk it, like stepping around the cat ball, nothing. Once it went off, then we go back and ask questions, and the cat ball will go off again. So, as I said before, like in my other podcast, my REM pod does not go off. Like 3 times in how many investigations I've done.
Yeah.
It's gone off. But in Madison, it was going off. So there is something there, obviously. It is certified haunted.
Certified. If anybody knows what that actually means, let us know.
I'm on a plaque. I want my podcast to be certified haunted.
Certified Haunted Podcast.
Yes.
With merch.
With merch. With water.
Water merch.
Water merch. Anyway, so yeah, we went up to the Sarah's. I met them at Sarah's room. I did some solos in the attic. Went to the back room. About 40 minutes back there between the two. Then I went down because I wanted to do across from Sarah's room, like we talked about before. Is a lot of people think there's something across from Sarah's room. Sorry, I'm supposed to look at the camera. Look at the camera. Say it. Say it. Look at the camera. Come on. This is live. Come on.
I did look at it.
Okay. So I wanted to go over there and have them go in Sarah's room, see if I get a connection, like I was trying to tell her to go across the hall, mess with them, do whatever, hit the REM pod. And honestly, I listened to audio. All I heard was Mark talking and messing with the video camera. Beep, beep, beep.
I'm really good with the video camera. You guys will see that.
He's very good at talking a lot.
Good at that too.
Yeah. So there's gonna be some training coming later.
That's why I'm good for podcasts. I'm good filler.
Yeah. So, but we got nothing. I mean, there was no EVPs, nothing with the two. So I don't know if they're connected or maybe they just didn't want to talk to us. No idea.
Yeah. To be fair, though, with what you just said, I noticed like when we were doing our investigation upstairs when we first started, me and Daniel were doing the attic rooms and you guys were doing the general area. And everything you guys did over there was impeding on what we were doing on... Did you hear it outside the headphones?
Yeah, I did. What is going on here?
Sami, the camera. Sammy's haunted.
Sammy's haunted.
Yep.
Apparently.
Okay. Whatever.
But like I was saying, when we were doing the attic stuff, like you guys were in the other room, and when we were trying to ask questions and try to get recordings, we could hear you guys using the ghost box and the spirit box and all that stuff, whichever you want to call it. So I think, like when you were doing the room across from Sarah's room, we're going to ask questions, try to get our investigation. But I think that hurts your investigation on the room next door because you can hear...
What I really want to do is have Tegan go up there, sit in one room, whatever room it is, and us go to the other one and do Estes with her.
In separate rooms.
In separate rooms.
That'd be good.
But she left us. That's why she's not on the podcast. Because she left for personal reasons I don't agree with. But anyways.
Anyways. He doesn't agree.
I don't agree.
Just in case they're watching this.
Yeah. Where am I going with this? Okay. So that's why we'll
do separate rooms. Yeah.
And we'll do that coming up next time. I mean,
yeah. So
she's probably the only one I trust with Estes method. I think when Sami gets more into it, that she can try it out.
Sure.
But other people, not so much.
Yeah, everybody's got a different way and feels different things and sensitive subjects. So it's something we'll look into later.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Yeah. But so I did when we were doing Sarah's room. I know you said you didn't get anything on your recordings. We did get a growl. So Daniel was laying on Sarah's bed and we were asking questions and Daniel got to the point where he was having fun with it and he was like, just asking, does anybody have a problem with me laying in their bed? And he laughed and then it went, Burr. So I mean, it could be a growl, might not. You'll have to review the footage.
Because my recorder's going at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I listened to all that, I didn't get anything. I do have a few things. One pretty decent one with Aaron's recording. But besides that, there's a couple like breaths. There's always breaths. Maybe a little growl. I just kind of go past them now because we get so many sighs. I don't know if it's like someone just breathing out of their nose or someone down the hall. Like you said, it carries there.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing was the reason, I listened to a couple hours worth on mine. It was my first time deciphering my stuff. And the only reason I caught it was because it was normal talking, everything's normal. And he asked that question, and then it was like a weird silence and a growl and a weird silence. It was very different than anything else in the room.
That's what you gotta look at when you're looking at those. Like mine has little wave marks.
Okay.
Then usually, like even Sarah's EVP that got on hers, there's no wave mark.
Oh, okay.
It just set it. So usually it's like a very small wave mark. If there is something, ours are like pretty high up. So that's how you tell the difference.
Mine's a very cheap recorder.
But cheap recorders are fine.
Okay.
I'll download it on my software and we'll get to it.
Okay. Yeah, but that was all we got in there. I mean, you didn't feel anything in there. We were testing if the ball was rolling and the floor is uneven in there. So that really disproved anything that we've kind of heard or seen. And then after we left Sarah's room, we went upstairs. That kind of leads us right into the live action almost.
Well, me, you, and Sarah went to the attic, right?
In the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, so we went to the attic. I just want to mention this. The video will be out sooner or later, whenever I get to it. But we did get some, I had the PS device, Periscope device, and nothing real, like, that thing's weird. Like, it has to make sense for it to be real, but we did get, like, far, then we got building. Then we're like, well, Civil War building? Like, what are you talking about? There's some atom.
I thought that was when we were with Craig in the office.
No, that was upstairs in the attic. It was me and Sarah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It was like Adam. Well, Adam owns Madison,
Yeah.
and he was in the outbuilding washing dishes.
Yeah, that was in the beginning when me and Daniel were in the other
Yeah.
side of the attic. I remember you coming over saying you caught that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of interesting. Like, that made sense. Far, then it came back building, and it said attic. Well, Adam, sorry, not attic. Adam. Then it said nerd. Sorry, Adam. If you ever watches, sorry.
We don't find you a nerd, Adam.
Little bit. It's okay.
History nerd.
History nerd.
Yeah. Fair.
Paranormal nerd.
Paranormal.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So, but that was interesting. Those are like one of the few things that actually lined up. Like, okay, yeah, Adam's back there. It's
Right.
a farm building. So, I mean, that was interesting. So,
So Sami did do. So talk about your game. So you played a game for the first time, which was really interesting.
We should, yeah.
So let's talk about that.
So everybody knows I love playing games.
He's a very happy, fun-loving game type of guy. Ryan is.
So we did it wasn't beer pong. So we weren't drinking beer because I drink during investigations. But I set up like a beer pong. I had numbers on every single solo cup. And I had a list. So no one knew I cheated.
Yep.
Say right next to it. You have to throw a ball in. You have to win merch. If you want merch. So some said gift. So you get to pick what you want. A shirt or some merch. Cups. Others, not so lucky. Solo.
Right.
I had attic back room, Sarah's room, office.
Yeah, and then the grave room.
Grave room.
Yep.
So I'm going to give Sami some credit here. And this is a question I have to ask her after I say this. Is that she got attic, the general room, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think Aaron got something.
Mm-hmm.
April got something.
No, they went together.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that.
Oh,
April
right.
did get something. So everybody got some, like solos, with like 4 solos going on. They wouldn't go. Like, not saying they wouldn't, but they were scared. Hold on.
Still hear it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
It's the REM pod.
Yeah.
No shit. It's the REM pod.
Damn, dude. Alright, let me try this back up.
I thought maybe because we never sat right under it
Yeah.
before.
Okay, so
All right, spooky.
yeah. Talk about the attic and Sami and shit
All
goes
right.
off. Anyways,
So to be fair, though, with what he's about to say is Ryan gave the opportunity because he's a fair man. He said you can do a solo or a duo. So you had the choice to take someone if you were uncomfortable where you were going.
you get to pick. So everybody picked, and I looked at Sami. First time at Madison, like, you're going to the attic. That's the creepier spot. Like, you want to take someone? She's like, nope, I'm good. So she goes up there. I mean, Mark walked her up,
Yep.
make sure she was good, safe to get up there. And how was it up there for your solo?
It's very, calming. I felt really safe up there.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, that's good.
Nothing
Yeah.
happened either. It was very, very quiet.
Did you, I mean, I didn't record it, probably should have, but did you ask questions? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. I've had people do solos and just sit there. To be fair, me, Mark, Nikki, and you are the only ones that done solos.
Wow.
No one else will.
Yeah, and I was impressed because I went up there because everybody started coming back from their solos, and I went up. I sat in the middle of the staircase between the 3rd floor and the attic, and the Savage Energy personnel. I just wanted to make sure I got them to Sarah's room. So I sat in the middle in case she called and needed help upstairs, or if they called and needed help downstairs. So I stayed in the middle, and everybody was coming out, and she was just still sitting up there. So I went and checked on her, and I went up the room. I'm like, "Are you still here?" She just heard, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Where?" Because I couldn't see anything. And she was just sitting there on the chair, and she was asked questions. I don't know if you had a cat ball or anything with you or whatever.
Yeah, there was one.
Okay. And I was like, "Are you good?" She's like, "I can't feel my fingers." I said, "All right, let's go downstairs."
That was so cool.
But she was up there for a half hour by herself. I mean,
I give her props.
Yeah.
Most people don't do it. Most people won't do it.
Right.
I don't think it's that bad, honestly.
No. So the question is, and we'll get to your other experience, would you now do a solo in the back room?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, because you never had experience really before. And now that you had it, and I thought about this like the next day, like after I text you, make sure you're okay, and you took like 3 hours to answer me.
Well, like, is she dead? We don't know. But
I had to text your mom, like, you saying I'm like, good? Like, and finally you text me back. And I was impressed. You're like, yeah, I want to go back. So, but, you know, after that experience, like, because you never had one before, would you go back to the back rooms and do a solo? I'm not saying you have to. I'm not telling you have to. It's just a general question.
I don't think I'd do it solo. Yeah. I would go back there, like, to the back rooms again if I, like, had one of you guys with me, but I wouldn't go solo.
And that's fair.
No.
I know, like Daniel mentioned in the last podcast, he was like, I felt everything was fine.
Yeah.
He's like, I felt calming. He's like, but after what happened to Sami, he's like, I don't want to go back up there by myself again. He's like, if you would ask me all night, go do a solo anywhere in the building, I would have done it. He's like, after what happened to Sami, I'm not going by myself. He's like, I don't know if it's the feeling right this moment, if I'll do it again in the future, but right now I'll never go in the attic by myself again.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to get over that fear. Like, it's tough. Like, even I have to convince myself sometimes. I mean, after Bel Air House, I'm like, sweet, hellfire, I'm jumping in. Like, I really don't care anymore.
Right.
But before that, it's kind of like, you know, I like the fear. I like my chest tightening up. I like going in.
Yeah.
And facing that fear.
Yep.
A lot of people aren't like that. Like, Sarah runs. Like, her fear is talk and run.
Yeah. And she's tough.
Yeah, she's
but
tough.
when it comes to paranormal and she can't see it, she can't, as she says, probably throw hands.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can. Sarah, if you're watching, just throw hands.
Yeah. The ghost's going to catch a fade, Sarah.
Yeah. Especially if I have the video camera on. It'd go viral, trust me. All right, so we'll get into Sami's little experience. So
before that, let me just put one more piece in.
God.
Well, I want to because I'm sure you don't have a lot of stuff on it yet.
I'm like 28 minutes.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll touch on when Sami left. We went and did that room again. So we went to the second floor after Sami left. We did a little investigation, me, Ryan, and Daniel. And we were asking questions in there. We put the REM pod out, put a cat ball out again, try to see if we could pick up more activity. It was really cold at this point. And we had some hits on the REM pod and the cat ball. But Ryan started doing the spirit box. And we didn't get much that we could pull out of it. And then I felt like something walked through the door on the side of me. And I looked over at it. And right when I looked at it, you looked at me and you said, "Did you see something?" And I was like, "Something walked through the door." You said, "Something's in the room."
Well, Daniel heard something outside.
Yeah.
So he heard something. You looked over at the door, and that's when I felt that cold spot
right
next to me. And I was like, oh, there's a cold spot. And I'm like, and you're like, something just walked in. I'm like, It's freezing. Like, it was cold anyways, but it was really cold, like, just a spot this big.
Right.
And you won't be able to see that on audio, sorry, but about 12 inches, Then it just went away. Then we didn't get that feeling again.
Right.
Like, it just walked through.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, what's up?" And
yeah,
it could have been residual.
Yeah.
Someone that walked there through the night.
Could be. And I was audio recording all that, and I've got it for Ryan. He's gonna look into it further. But 7.5 minutes into our recording in that room, there was an unknown voice that you could hear almost 2 to 3 words on. And at first I thought maybe it was you whispering. But I was like, one, you don't ever really whisper. I mean, you have a low voice, but it doesn't sound like a whisper. So I wasn't sure. So I wrote Ryan ? Next to it. And then a minute later at 8:26, there's another same voice, but it certainly wasn't you. And it was 3 to 4 words. And I was like, nope. So I crossed out your name next to what I was writing down. So when you hear those, you'll have to use your headphones. But I think that'll be some good audio for this podcast.
We got one good EVP through Aaron's, and once I play it, we're going to do another podcast coming up with all the evidence with Aaron. Then we'll go through all that, and there's a couple good things, but probably be a short podcast because that was Madison.
Yeah.
There's some stuff. Can we now?
You're the man.
Stare at the camera.
So do you want to play the audio first, then have her explain what happened, and we'll talk about it? Or do you want to talk about it, then play it, or just talk through it and
we'll
not play it?
Through it. We'll play it. She can listen to it next time. So, yeah. So we went up. It was me, Mark, Sami, and Daniel decided to go to the attic.
Right after Sarah's room.
Right after Sarah's room. Let's just go up. I was just there. I got some icky feelings up there. So I'm like, let's go up and see what we do. Obviously, my handheld recorder died. My video recorder died. That's
really?
Why, yeah. Well, it died. That's why it came down.
Okay.
Because it was dying, so I decided to come down there. Then I'm like, well, we're here, and I don't want to climb 4 flights of steps later.
Right.
So let's just climb 1 flight. So we went up there. We went in the doctor's room first. Really nothing.
Yep.
Then we decided to go back into the back room and went back there. And I'm like, if you walk back, third room on the right.
It's where at 90s.
Yeah. So the room on the right is where I got my name a couple times. I always felt bad in there. The room you guys were going to go into, a little off, but never got really anything bad in there. So I'm like, well, how about me and Daniel go in this room? And you two go in that room.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. And we set the REM pod up.
Yep.
Put a cat ball out. REM pod started going off.
Yeah.
But I was stepping over it.
Right.
So I'm like, well, maybe I'm just too close.
And I was like, oh, so that's great. The REM pod's going off. I was like, but it's because you're probably stepping over it, huh? And you were like, no, you're like, you have to touch it. And I'm like, oh, great. So it's ghosts.
And you were touch it. Clear. We know you don't have to touch it. You have to get close.
Yeah. And I was like, so it's ghosts. And Ryan walks in the room and he goes, yeah, ghost, fuck you. And I was like, oh. So then I stood over the REM pod and I was like, okay, it's still going off, but nothing's changed. And that's when it, led into.
So what happened?
What happened, Sam?
The first time you walked into that room, what happened? That time.
Well, like you guys were saying, we set up the REM pod, and then he like squatted over top of it, and I started laughing at him. And then I had felt like a hand on my shoulder, and my hair got lifted, and something like screamed in my ear. Can't really explain it. You said you saw it.
What
it
did
was
you?
Very, very scary.
Okay, so Mark told me what he saw.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I experienced with it, because like she mentioned, so we went upstairs, we were setting up the REM pod and everything, and while we were setting up, Sami was like, I don't feel comfortable anymore. She's like, I felt comfortable all night, and right now I just do not feel well. Like, I feel uncomfortable.
Well, it was like when we had first gone back up into the attic, and I had walked towards like the back rooms. I had walked like, whatever you want to call that, the threshold or whatever. I walked over it, and I was scared for the first time the entire night. Like, I felt like there were 100 eyes all around me. It was horrible.
Yeah, you made that comment, and I was like, really? Right now? And Daniel was like, yeah, it's a little colder right now, so maybe that's why we're feeling a certain way, but we're all right.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I just don't feel good about that. You'll hear all this in the audio, too. And set up the REM pod. Like Ryan said, he stepped over it. He told it to go fuck itself. And then I stepped over it to see if it was making any movement, and it wasn't. I had my audio recorder in my hand because I was setting us up for being able to hear all this. And as I turned to go into the room where Sami was at, so if you had the doorway here, Sami was standing next to the door here. There was a small gap by the door. And I turned to her while I was over the REM pod to go around her to go in the room. And right when I went to go into the room, her hair lifted on this side by the door. There was a small gap. Her hair lifted slightly on the side. And she went, and she walked out of the room. And I said, did something just touch you? Did something touch you? And she's just like, uh-huh.
It literally took like every word out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know how to react to it.
Yeah, and so I listened back to all the audio, and it was within seconds. I mean, we went to the attic 49 minutes into the recording. 5:50, Sami said she was scared up there. And then 51:44, the REM pod started going off in the attic. And then 52:01, Ryan said, fuck you. And then at 52:05, so 4 seconds later, there was a heavy breath where Sami was at, and then Sami freaks out. So, like, it all coordinated absolutely perfect. And we went in the room afterwards, and Ryan and Deanna were in that room. She was in the room, and she was just standing in the room like this. And I was like, you're okay? And she's just like, she just shook her head, yeah. And I said, are you okay? And she shook her head, yeah. And I go, do you need to go downstairs? And she's like, I'm like, okay. I was like, we'll go downstairs. And I was like, Ryan, we're going to leave now. He's like, okay, we'll all leave and make sure she's okay. So it was a really intense experience. I mean, I don't even know if the podcast and the video recording, like talking about it, even makes it seem as heavy as it was. But I mean, I wasn't even the one that got breathed on or my hair lifted or anything. I mean, I don't have any hair to lift, but it was pretty messed up for someone that sat in that attic for 30 minutes by themselves. I mean, it's not like you were going up there to overreact and freak out. I mean, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the way you explained it to me, and what you said, it felt like someone put their arm around and their head, like, next to you.
Yeah.
And, like, did a breath or a scream, whatever it was. That sucks for your first paranormal experience. I mean, that's a lot to take in. I've never had anybody breathe in my, I don't have hair, but tug or anything, like, for you to have that. But we talked about it on the one podcast. What were you talking about up to that might have led to that?
Like, what was I asking while I was up there?
No, like, you were saying how you never had a paranormal experience.
Well, yeah.
And you kept saying that. Like, do you, maybe, possibly, they're like, well, we're going to give her one.
Yeah, it's like,
well,
let's show her what one is.
Yeah.
And you said up to that point, I feel really bad right now.
Yeah.
Like Daniel mentioned that. He's like, she was fine until she said that, and then this happened. So maybe it was like, that's enough energy for me to attach to be able to get your attention.
And you're setting my REM pod off.
Yeah, and you're sitting off here. So that's the first time we've done one of these with that REM pod going off.
Yeah, it's all good, though.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, I mean, yeah, rough first time experience. And, you know, I was telling Rachel that, like, oh, yeah, she had experience and pretty bad one for your first time. Like, I've seen shadow figures. I've heard low growls. Most of my experiences come from listening to EVPs. I'm not there. I'm sitting in this room listening to it. Or, I mean, I've seen shadow figures stare at me. But to have that, that's a lot. Like, and there's no, like, you do the right thing. Like, get out. Like, just get out. Most people feel comfortable going outside. But just getting out of that area probably going to help.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your thoughts and feelings when you took yourself out of that room and you left shortly after because you just needed to decompress? It was late anyways. But what were your thoughts going home when you got home? How did it all overall make you feel now that the REM pod's going off again? As I asked you that question.
Why don't you put that thing down here? I believe it's that. It's not.
It's the red. It's red.
That's supposed to be red.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not making the noise anymore.
Alright. Let's rock this. If it goes off now, then
Yeah.
let's move away from the equipment though. There you go.
I was pretty much just like confused and like wasn't sure if it was actually real or if I was just like putting it in my head.
That's normal though. I mean, most people do that. I mean, how was your drive home?
I just I just turned on music and just focused on getting home.
Okay.
I was just trying to distract myself.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said there, like nothing's going to attach to you.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to be there or they're stuck there for a reason. Oh, nothing's coming home with you. Nothing demonic is there. I mean, If there was, I would have found it already. So I think I would have pissed it off already by then.
Oh yeah, you've done what, 8?
8.
Yeah.
That's my 8th time there. So
Yeah.
Fourth time this year. So. All right, so that's pretty much Madison. I said we went up, did a little bit of the office area.
Yeah.
But we do have some big news.
We have big news.
We have big news.
I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming we have big
You
news.
should know what it is.
Is it the big trip of big news?
It's the big trip. So we talked about the big trip. I think I cut it out every podcast.
You might.
Yeah, probably.
You've been kind of secretive about it up till recently.
So recently, because
Anybody that goes in and does this is going to be very lucky to be involved in the big trip.
okay, so I can cut Mark on this. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we got big news. I talked about big trip coming up. So we finally got the dates, and I got one more place I had to book, but we are doing 4 places in 4 nights. We're going to start Post Town Elementary down by Dayton, I think it is.
Okay.
Around that area. Then we're going, hopefully, Old College and Hospital Hill. Pretty freaky ass place. Can't wait. I might go in there solo just in the beginning.
You always do. You like that first door kick in.
Yeah. We're going to get there when it's dark. Then we're going to Bel Air House and Ross House the last time. So we're gonna do 4 places, 4 nights.
Okay.
And we got a big RV. Sleeps like 12 people. But I don't have 12 friends, so we're not taking 12 people. But no, it should be a good time. Gonna see, doing 4 places, 4 nights. Post Town's supposed to be pretty active. Old Hospital's pretty active. And then Bel Air, that's Bel Air House.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty freaky. Then Ross House, seems pretty mellow, but active. Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Depending
ghost.
on the day.
Yeah, nice ghost. So we'll end there and then come home.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I've only gone to Madison and Ross with you guys, so
Yeah.
it'll be exciting because I'm not going to research the other places before I go. So I'm excited to see what we'll run into.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Right now, there's a few of us going. Sami, you interested?
Wow.
Sure.
She got the big dog invite just
The big
shirt
dog.
it right there.
Sure. I mean, it's gonna be freaky.
I'll go.
We're playing games
All the games with merch.
with merch. Maybe just solos. I don't know.
Hey, 90-10.
So I did say that I want to do solos, draw. Let's see who goes in
Mhm.
the building first before anybody else. Probably won't do that because I can't get people to freaking do that. So if you want to go in, volunteer. I want to go in Old Hospital when it gets dark out and just walk in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hospital. It's big. I want to go in and see what's in there before anybody else goes in.
We get the whole hospital?
Yes,
Wow. That's going to be huge.
that's huge.
That's a lot of solo potential.
It's a lot of solo potential. It should be good times though. I mean, Post Town and Old Hospital I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well do it back to back.
Yeah. I'm excited. And when are we planning on doing this trip?
In June.
June. So it won't be too hot. Be warm. Be nice.
Pretty warm. Got a nice RV. We're actually going to stay at a little RV park while we're at Bel Air Ross
Nice.
House. Because they're next to each other. We just
Yeah.
got to figure out how we're getting from that to the houses. We'll figure it out. But there might be a couple groups coming down. You know, there's some people that do Post Town, and we'll see if they want to join us. Same with Old Hospital. There's a group of 2 down there. I know there's one group that always wanted to do it, so they might come down. They're from down south, Southern Ohio, so they want to join us. It's always good to have different groups and different experiences, their techniques. And, you know, Ross House we'll probably do ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It's small. We don't want to have a ton
Yeah.
of people in Ross.
Bel Air House probably. It depends on how many people we have that are actually going to go. I think Bird's going to go meet us at Post Town because he couldn't get the week off. Or
Okay.
he has that night off. So he's going to meet us at Post Town. And hopefully I can get a couple other people, part of our group, that can come down and meet us and do. Like Bel Air, I do want to keep small because it is a small house. And it's very active.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I want to see Bel Air House because you guys keep talking up Bel Air, and I really want to feel it because something better happened the way you guys keep talking about it. 'Cause it's pretty intense.
You don't know until you're there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, Ross House is active now. Like, a lot of people on Facebook are saying all this stuff is happening.
Sure.
We fell asleep. Well, we didn't.
Some members may have dozed a bit.
The girls were sawing logs down there while I was trying to do my solo. All I hear is, that's terrible. I thought it was a ghost coming at me.
But that just goes to show that anything can happen differently at different nights, right? You could have a ton of experience. You might have no experience anywhere you go. That's like, even the big shows that we watch, we've been watching for 10, 15 years. They go for 2 to 3 days and do investigations multiple days to see if they're getting the same results or different results. So it'll be interesting to see what we hit on. And I think that's why you wanted to do Madison a few times this year.
Yeah, I did.
So, Sammy, one last thing I'd like to get on the podcast from you, at least, is what was your experience the first time you've done it? What do you have to say about your experience to anybody that'd be looking to go on their first experience?
I don't know. I think it's hard.
Should they? Anybody that's interested in paranormal, should they go do it?
Yeah. If they feel like they could get something, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you never know till you go do it. I mean, some people go there and hate it. I haven't had anybody yet.
Right.
So as a group, I mean, because this is what our group is based off of, is bringing people in that never done it. Did we do a good job?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we do have some knowledge. I mean, we're not like huge veterans. I mean, I've done this 20 years. And we got a lot of good tools.
Right.
Go about it. So if you do want to go on an investigation, drop us something on Facebook and we'll try to get you there.
Yeah. Or if you need help, like Ryan's had a few people reach out to him that maybe want to do something personal because they have something going on at their home or something. Reach out to him. He's a big vet of this and he has a lot of equipment. He might be able to just point you in the right direction of maybe what it could be causing the issue, maybe not, and then he could probably help you if you absolutely need it.
Yeah, I know a few people out there that if I don't know what's going on, I'm not going to BS you, but I will lead you to someone that knows what's going on. Like Native American stuff and all that stuff, I don't really, I'll deal with it, but I don't know how to, help you with that. But I'll lead you in the right direction with contacts.
Right.
Get it done. No one should be scared in their own house.
Right. Absolutely.
That's all it is. All right, well, that's it for Trap Souls. I appreciate you listening, watching us. Follow us on TikTok, nuclear.soul.seekers. You can follow us on Facebook, Trap Souls. Or follow us on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. A lot of good shorts out there, a lot of good videos. All of our podcasts go on to YouTube. So if you want to follow us on that. Thanks again.
Later.
Until next time.